Judge Nurn, I was looking at your resume. You went to Brown University, is that right?
I did.
And then you went to law school in California?
That's correct.
And you've worked for the Brennan Center?
I interned. I was a law student intern.
Okay. And you worked for the Center for Reproductive Law and Policy?
I was a law student intern there for 8 weeks during my 1L summer.
Okay. And you are a political activist, aren't you?
I am not. I'm a sitting United States magistrate judge.
Okay. All right. Do you remember an inmate named William McLean, also known as July Justine Shelby?
Yes, I know who you're referring to.
Okay. Mr. McLean raped a child, didn't he?
Wow. Did you just see that? Senator John Kennedy just did what he does best. He cut through all the noise and asked the questions that every normal, rational person should be asking. No fluff, no politics, just cold, hard facts laid out one by one. Now I know this clip is going to make some people uncomfortable and honestly, good. It should. Because we're talking about a serial child predator with a devastating trail of victims and a judicial nominee who recommended sending that predator into a women's prison. And somehow we're just supposed to accept that without asking hard questions? Not Senator Kennedy. And not me. Before we watch the full video, if you believe that the safety of women and children should always come before political ideology on the bench, hit that like button right now. And if you're new here and you're tired of people dancing around the truth, subscribe. This is the channel where we talk straight. Let's watch the rest. And then we need to talk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Judge Dixon, can you tell me about the full faith and credit clause of the Constitution?
It's me, Senator Kennedy, Judge
Oh,
Valenzuela.
I'm sorry. I can't see that far.
Okay.
I just got new glasses. Judge down here, and then we'll come this way.
Judge Court, Senator, I had the same issue when I walked into the room. I thought that it would be difficult to see my last name, so no need to apologize.
Okay.
So, and I apologize. Your question is the full faith and credit
clause, yes, ma'am.
clause of the Constitution. It requires that the states give full faith and credit to judgments of other states.
Okay, very good. Judge Nurn, I was looking at your resume. You went to Brown University, is that right?
I did.
And then you went to law school in California?
That's correct.
And you've worked for the Brennan Center?
I interned. I was a law student intern.
Okay. And you worked for the Center for Reproductive Law and Policy?
I was a law student intern there for 8 weeks during my 1L summer.
Okay. And you are a political activist, aren't you?
I am not. I'm a sitting United States magistrate judge.
Okay. All right. Do you remember an inmate named William McLean, also known as July Justine Shelby?
Yes, I know who you're referring to.
Okay. Mr. McLean raped a child, didn't he?
30 years ago, the petitioner in the habeas case before me,
Did he rape a child?
he pled guilty to that crime. Yes, it's abhorrent.
And then he raped a 17, he raped a little boy, right?
I believe that's correct. I believe he pled guilty to two acts of sexual violence.
And then he raped a 17-year-old girl, right?
Again, this case was handled by the state court in Indiana, but I
I'm
believe...
just asking you the facts.
I believe...
Don't stall on me now. Did he rape a 17-year-old girl or not after raping a 9-year-old boy?
I believe that's what he pled guilty to.
Okay, and then he went to prison, didn't he?
Yes, the petitioner was...
And then he came out and he sent child porn, basically adults raping little children, to another sex offender. And he was sent back to prison, right?
The petitioner pled guilty to
Was he sent back to prison?
Well, that case was in the federal system, so...
Was he sent back to prison?
Yes, this time to federal prison.
Thank you. And then he decided to transition, and he became a female. and started going by July Justine Shelby. Is that right?
Yes.
And Ms. Shelby said, I don't want to go to a male prison. I want to go to a female prison. And the Board of Prisons said, what planet did you parachute in from? You're going to a male prison with this kind of record. And you sent him to a female prison, didn't you? You said that the Board of Prisons was trying to violate Ms. Shelby, former Mr. McLean's constitutional rights, didn't you?
I issued a report and recommendation to the district judge recommending that the district judge transfer the petitioner to a women's facility. The district judge adopted that recommendation.
The Board of Prisons was trying to violate Ms. Shelby's, Mr. McLean's constitutional rights, didn't you?
So I based my decision on the facts that were presented to me in the record evidence.
But it wasn't that your ruling?
I recommended finding that under Estelle versus Gamble.
Why won't you admit that was your ruling? Are you ashamed of it today?
I'm not. I'm answering the question. I applied Estelle versus Gamble.
Was that your ruling?
My recommendation was that the petitioner's serious medical needs were being denied by keeping her in a men's facility.
A violation of the Eighth Amendment, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And how big was Ms. Shelby, Mr. McLean?
I don't have a specific recollection. Your colleague just suggested that she was more than 6 feet tall.
And you told the Board of Prisons, well, she'll be okay. The other women in the female prison will be okay because it's only hypothetical that Ms. Shelby, Mr. McLean would reoffend again after he's already raped a 9-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl and has been sending child porn through the mail. You said there's no chance he'll reoffend again. Did you say that?
Senator Kennedy, I based my decision on the record.
But am I right? Did you conclude that?
I don't have a specific recollection of that. I did recommend that after finding a constitutional violation.
What were you thinking in saying it's only hypothetical that she would reoffend?
The facts of the case were that the petitioner had last engaged in a contact offense 30 years ago. The petitioner had not engaged in any contact offense. In addition, the medical evidence made clear that for the last 5 years, the petitioner was sober and hormonally entirely a female, and there was no evidence.
The Board of Prisons didn't agree with you. I'm not going to run out of time here. You're really a political activist, aren't you?
I am not, sir.
But your record demonstrates otherwise.
I disagree. I apply the law to the facts and come to a fair decision. All of my decisions that have been appealed, particularly this one, the district judge adopted my report and recommendation in full, and the government did not move for a stay of the decision.
Okay, we've seen it all now, and I have thoughts. Senator Kennedy didn't come in there to grandstand. He came in with receipts. Court-verified, guilty plea-confirmed receipts. William McLean raped a 9-year-old boy. He raped a 17-year-old girl. He went to prison, got out, then mailed child pornography to another sex offender and went straight back to prison. That background leaves zero room for nuance. That is a predator with a long, documented history of targeting the most vulnerable people imaginable. And yet Judge Nurn recommended this individual, now identifying as July Justine Shelby, be transferred to a women's prison. The justification? Medical needs. Eighth Amendment rights under Estelle versus Gamble. That was it. Now I'll be fair. Judges work within the law, and they can't just ignore legal precedent because a case makes them uncomfortable. I respect that. But here is where I have a real problem. When Kennedy asked whether Judge Nurn concluded that reoffending was only hypothetical, she didn't deny it. She said she didn't have a specific recollection. That is not a denial. And if that reasoning was in that recommendation, we have to ask a serious question. At what point does legal reasoning become completely detached from common sense? Because what her argument essentially came down to was this. The last contact offense was 30 years ago. The petitioner had been sober for 5 years. There were hormonal changes. Transfer approved. I'm sorry, but that is not good enough when you are talking about placing a convicted serial predator into a facility full of women who are already in one of the most vulnerable situations of their lives. Those women didn't get a vote. Nobody asked them. Their safety was not the primary concern, and that is a serious problem. That is exactly what Kennedy was getting at, and he was right to get at it. What also struck me was the deflecting. I base my decision on the record. I don't have a specific recollection. The district judge adopted my recommendation in full. All technically true, but it's a way of dodging the moral weight of the decision. Kennedy wasn't asking for a legal lecture. He was asking her to look him in the eye and own what she decided. And she couldn't do it. Look, a decision can be legally defensible and still be completely wrong in its real-world consequences. Procedure and wisdom are not the same thing. The American people deserve judges who don't just know the law, but who have the moral clarity to protect the innocent, not just the rights of the convicted. Senator Kennedy walked into that room and said what millions of people wish someone would say. Clearly, directly, without apology. That is why this matters. Let me know in the comments where you stand. Do you think Judge Nurn's reasoning was sound, or did Kennedy expose a serious problem? Drop it below, share this video, and I will see you in the next one.